So moving right along, we have two Margarets coming up next, Margaret Howard and Margaret Stafford from Waterford and Wexford ETB.
Hello everybody, my name is Margaret Howard, this is Margaret Stafford, and we're from Waterford Wexford ETB, and we're here this morning to talk to you about some of our experiences about fostering independence with learners who are accessing our learner support service. So I'm going to give you a quick overview of the learner support service in Waterford Wexford ETB, and Margaret's going to talk to you more about fostering independence in the classroom. So within our ETB, our learner support service is a relatively new department, if you like. We've been in existence as a coherent department for about 2 years, and we have 3 strands. We have our disability supports, we have our health and wellbeing supports, and then we have our academic supports for further education and apprenticeships. And that's myself and Margaret work with further education learners, in terms of their academic supports. Because we're a relatively new department, we really focused the last few years on raising awareness of what we're doing and raising awareness within a student and staff population that there are supports available. The supports are available to all learners. You don't have to have a disability or a learning difference. There's access for everybody there. We have an opportunity, I suppose, to be flexible and adaptable at the minute because we don't have any kind of set way of doing things at the moment. So we're always kind of looking at what we're doing and seeing if it works, and if it's not working, we try and change it. So you can see there are a couple of examples of promotions and initiatives that we have done within our ETB. One of them is Forget Your Glasses, No Problem. So you can access reading glasses if you forget them in all of our vet centres. We have them available for all of our learners. And also you can access a sensory pod if you want to rest and relax. So from the outset, I suppose, we wanted to make sure that our learner support service was promoting independence in our learners. And I suppose we see that as one of the main roles of the learner support service. We offer a skills-based support. So we don't just teach to assignments or getting through a particular assignment. We teach the skills that are needed to support the learner in that assignment and any other assignment that they're doing. And we do this because we want to empower our learners and help them to see that they're active participants in their own learning. And similarly, if there's any issues that come up for a learner, we do try and encourage that learner to address those issues. We support them and engage with them, but we engage with any issues in partnership with the learner. We try not to advocate, we try not to get involved in advocating for the learner. We try and encourage them to do that for themselves. If a learner decides that they would like learner support from us, we ask that they register. There's multiple means of engagement there for registering for learner support. You can see them all there. We find that the support staff in particular are very good. Anybody can register a learner for learner support, so your friend or your tutor, your coordinator. But we do find that when the learner takes the independent step to seek support, then they have greater success in their learner support journey. So they're a lot more likely to attend learner support if they have chosen themselves to register for learner support. When a learner registers for learner support, we carry out a needs assessment or a learner support plan, or both, with the learner. So we found that going through this process with the learner, it requires them to outline any needs or learning preferences that they might have for their learning journey with us in Waterford Wexford ETB. And we find that this step really helps the learner to figure out how they learn and what they need to learn. And I suppose it shows the learner that they're in charge of their own learning and that they're directing their learning. And again, makes them a more active participant in what's happening on their course. So when a learner actually begins their learner support classes with us, we would go through a goal setting process with them to help them, I suppose, focus on what they would like to get out of our class or out of our support classes. So we have a template that we use to help a learner kind of focus on what particularly they would like to focus on while they're working with our support tutors. And we find that this goal setting process really helps a learner to say, why am I here? You know, sometimes a learner just knows that they need help, but they're not quite sure why. So we find that doing this goal setting really helps a learner to see that, you know, their learning is kind of directed by them. And just finally for me, we also focus on designing different resources to promote learner independence. So you can see there's a support goals template, as I previously referred to, and we also have recently developed assignment and task word meanings to, I suppose, foster independence in learners when they're trying to tackle their assignments and projects. So I'm going to hand over to Margaret Stafford now, who's going to talk to you about learner support in the classroom and fostering independence. Thanks.
Okay, hi everyone. Thank you, Margaret. So I'm going to talk to you about one of the learners in learning support. Let's call him Shane, because I think he represents a lot of our learners in further education. Shane is 19 years old. He has complex additional needs. He's committed and motivated by his course, but unfortunately he's become frustrated and overwhelmed by assignments, by deadlines, by various aspects of further education, which he wasn't expecting. So when we say we foster autonomy, what does it mean for Shane? I mean, how does he start a task? How does he structure what he's doing? How does he make decisions about what he's doing? And how does he stand over his work? So autonomy does not have to be something separate. It has to be part in you, but it isn't something innate in you. It has to be taught. And it doesn't have to be done alone. And so once Shane understood that, things got much easier. He came into us to do the needs assessment and the support goals. And while he was filling out the support goals form, he just stopped. And I said, is there a problem? And he said, I've never been asked that before. I've never been asked, what do you want to achieve? It has been somebody else telling him that this is what his goals need to be. So it was just the start, really, I guess, of the journey, of the train, whatever you like, of his journey into autonomy. Okay. Because in further education, assessments are done throughout the year, and it can be daunting for people starting off. And to support the goals, because he had one-to-one support throughout his primary and secondary school, he wasn't used to having less prompts, less guidance from the teachers and tutors. Okay, so, and this is just about school, being the teacher on it. He had one-to-one support, very structured, but very necessary. But he also needed huge reassurance starting tasks, and basically wrote down everything he knew, something I did starting college as well, actually, but it was just a kind of a way he knew the course. It wasn't about inability. It was about somebody else doing it for him, more or less. So this was something he had to learn to do for himself. Okay, so my role is basically to support him in that journey, and to do the tasks himself. We had to break down the assignments. We had to have a goal review conversation. We had to do lots of things in order that he could take it step by step. And it came to pass that he said to me one day, I think I know what this is about now. And I said to him, great. I said, what do you think it's about? And basically that was it. He was on the road. He was able to work from scaffolding to modeling how to approach tasks to doing it for himself. So it was somebody else, then the two of us, and then himself. So it was kind of unbelievable to see that he became confident in his own work. He knew what he wanted to write about. We used the task words, we used the goal reviews constantly just to make sure that he knew it was his work and nobody else's. So it went from external to both of us working together to him doing it himself. And yes, while in further education, there is a tension between people having time to teach learners autonomy, it is extremely important that we break down work for our learners and that we give them the skills in order to go forward and to do it for themselves. Because, as Ahead and CAST remind us, autonomy is not an individual trait to be proven. It is an outcome of inclusive design. Our role is not to prove that learners can achieve, but design environments where they recognize they can. Thank you very much.